The University of South Carolina, home of the Gamecocks, has always been my dream school. The campus is beautiful, located right in the heart of South Carolina, and has every academic need I ever wanted. As a freshman and a member of a sorority at USC, it is important to feel safe as I walk around campus. USC should be a place where students from all over can come and know they're protected by the rules and programs in place at the university. Whether it be at a hot football game in Williams-Brice, walking around campus, or going out into the city, students should know they are safe from sexual assault. Currently, there are several cases of sexual assault on college campuses that force the issue to be addressed. At the University of Virginia, a young woman named Jackie claimed that she was violently raped by 7 fraternity men at a party her freshman year. The article tells gruesome details of a sexual assault account. Several people called Jackie a liar and said that she just wanted attention, while others took the story, true or not, and decided it was time to do something about sexual assault on college campuses. Recently, Rolling Stones has pulled Jackie's article. However, it's still proved to individuals that the current sexual assault prevention programs and laws are not working. In South Carolina, Bob Jones University, a Christian school, is under investigation for over 40 mishandled sexual assault cases. Students felt that their cases were ignored and they did not receive proper justice against their assailants. We, as South Carolina students, cannot let our school be in the news for the next sexual assault incident. We should pressure President Pacides and the staff to implement an affirmative consent education program in our own U101 classes to educate students and faculty on correct consent measurements in order to alleviate the problem of sexual assault at USC. Currently, the University of South Carolina abides by the Title IX doctrine. This prohibits sexual discrimination, requires schools to have procedures for handling sexual assault, ensuring that students do not have to share spaces with their assailants, and several other strict guidelines. Recently, there was a case at the University of Georgia where a freshman was raped by 3 UGA athletes. She then had to discontinue her education at Georgia because the university office waited an entire year to process her case. The young woman sued the school on the charge of not obeying Title IX and won. Too many cases are occurring like this at local colleges, and it's time that we try something new. The state of California recently adopted Bill 967, or the Yes Means Yes bill. This requires all universities that receive financial aid to adopt an affirmative consent policy. According to the bill, affirmative consent means affirmative, conscious, and voluntary agreement to engage in sexual activity. It is the responsibility of each person involved in the sexual activity to ensure that he or she has affirmative consent of the other or others to engage in the sexual activity. Lack or protest or resistance does not mean consent, nor does silent mean consent. Affirmative consent must be ongoing throughout sexual activity and can be revoked at any time. The existence of a dating relationship between the persons involved or the fact of past sexual relations between them should never by itself be assumed or be an indicator of consent. Some are skeptical that this means during sexual activities you must verbally be saying yes the entire time. However, affirmative consent does not have to be verbal at all. Things such as making eye contact, guiding someone's hand, nodding yes, and asking about certain preferences could all suffice as affirmative consent. Affirmative consent may not be the final step in stopping sexual assault at USC, but it is the next necessary step. Kathy Pollitt states that the current laws are not working in her article in The Nation. She writes that Yes Means Yes will help in communicating between partners and understanding what is appropriate when sexual behavior is occurring. So ideally, with affirmative consent, USC students would be able to have an open conversation with each other without being awkward when engaging in sexual intercourse. One important part of the education program at USC would also be to educate the university staff about affirmative consent. The Yes Means Yes bill includes a section where it states the current campus officials must also be educated on the correct procedures of how to deal with sexual assault. If both parties understand and communicate at USC, then handling these cases will be much easier than now. Several people are opposed to the idea of affirmative consent. Roz Galtz, a feminist writer, says the bill will only help college students. However, this new idea, once implemented, would help all individuals around Columbia. If people, especially students, become educated about what affirmative consent is and share the word, then it can affect the entire city. Galtz also states that college women are at no greater risk than other women. However, I have personally seen girls being almost taken advantage of. Greek life is a huge part at USC, and you can find a mixer or social event almost every night of the week. Most guys prey on drunk girls because they think they're bigger, better, and that they won't get in trouble. College women are put into a huge amount of situations that could lead to them being assaulted almost every day, unlike normal women. If a program were created to educate these students on proper consent policy and punishments, then they would probably no longer feel like they can get away with such a horrible crime. So in the words of our president, I'm asking all of you, join us in the campaign, commit to being part of the solution. Obama's words state the idea that we, as USC students and fellow Gamecocks, must have when implementing an affirmative consent education program to stop sexual violence. We must join the fight with Stand Up Carolina to stop sexual violence when we see it. Together, we could provide enough influence to get the attention of President Pastides and start an affirmative consent program of our own, a program that will be present to staff and students through media such as Orientation and University 101, a program that will help define consent in a new light that will better the safety and well-being of Gamecocks. So I'm asking you as a Gamecock myself, stand up Carolina, and make a difference in the community by pressuring USC to implement an affirmative consent education policy of its own.